Slow sip.
A mixologist.
Slow sip. So made this really nice cocktail. Equal parts.
This is how we can start.
Equal parts gin. Equal parts tropical juice.
Yes.
Equal parts orange juice.
Mineral water.
A dash of sparkling water.
Single dash,
just to give you that fizzle. Is that a word? Fizzle? And 2 singular ice cubes.
Even better with a zest of lemon.
Drink of champions.
Absolutely. Drink of
Chin chin.
podcasters.
Chin chin.
Internationally. Chin chin indeed.
Anyway, so
we've been watching Umbrella Academy.
have indeed. If you haven't, why not?
Oh, dude, I'm so excited to talk about this. Nathan hasn't finished it, so we will fully review it next week. But
I'm halfway through.
halfway through season 2.
Yeah, halfway through season 2.
Yeah.
Loving it. I thought the intro to the first episode, when they've all come into the past, and boom,
Yes.
it's literally like Avengers Assemble.
Yes,
It's
right?
It's pretty much like that. What is it? That scene in the first Avengers movie when they all come and they do that weird turny roundy shot.
Oh, I know what you mean.
All the heroes have got their back to each other, and the camera just kind of goes round them full circle. It reminded me of that, and they're all doing their fucking powers, and it's like literally they've just mastered their powers from the last time you saw them.
Exactly.
Especially Robert Sheehan.
I know how you spell it, but I don't know how you pronounce it.
And he's just all
Irish.
like, whoosh. Like, and his power's crap.
Yeah,
His power's crap, but
always.
he's just figured out how to make it worth his while.
Yes, exactly.
Whoosh.
And I think they set the scene so well for the rest of it. So the synopsis being for the second series is that they go back into the 60s, and it's the beginning of the 60s, right before Kennedy was shot.
Yeah.
And that, honestly, that is such an interesting premise already for me, because just that time, like, I think it was such a huge thing that happened.
Yeah, definitely.
I think even now, like 50 years on, you can still see that.
Yeah, people still talk about it. It's still a big deal.
Yeah, we know what was actually going on that day, like this kind of death of liberalism in a big way. Anyway, I think at that moment when you see everybody kind of gathering together, I was suddenly like, I forgot how good this was.
Yeah.
And I was like on the edge of my seat already.
Well, this is the thing. So for me, how did you find the first season?
Well, it didn't. This is the thing. It wasn't as memorable as I thought it would be, because I've clearly forgotten a lot about it. I had to do the recap on Netflix.
So I remember watching the first season, and I really struggled. I got probably about halfway through the first season, and I was a bit like, I'm not really sure whether I like this.
Slow builder.
Very slow. But then the second half of the first season was awesome. And as soon as
Vanya's so good.
As soon as Vanya gets like a bit of power, you're like, oh shit, she's gonna be awesome.
Yes.
And she's got like that stalker guy in the first season, doesn't she?
Oh yeah, I know. Like the cutesy boyfriend that
Yeah.
you can tell.
So
there's
as soon as
something up with.
as soon as like that started to sort of graduate, and as soon as it started to get a bit worse, that's when I kind of like, I was like, okay, cool, like I'm in this now.
Yeah.
But like that last episode when she becomes like the white lady or whatever, like whatever the fuck she's called,
Yes.
like awesome. Loved that.
It. Absolutely loved it. I think it works as a comic book. Like I'm impressed with Gerard Way for coming
Yeah,
up with it.
can't believe it. Like him of MCR fame.
Indeed.
It's madness.
I don't know if people know this. My Chemical Romance. If you're a millennial like us, and you'll know My Chemical Romance, he's the lead singer, and he wrote Umbrella Academy as a comic book. So.
Yeah, I've been to comic book stores and I've picked up Umbrella Academy comic books and kind of had a bit of a flick through, and it's pretty like, it's obviously not spot on because he, it's different, but like you can tell that what has been in the comic books and kind of the stories he's done have kind of come to life in visual form, and it does, it looks really good.
It looks amazing. And this is the thing. I think in this series particularly, You can see that kind of Netflix giving them the money, giving them the dollar, going, go on, let's stretch your legs with this.
Well, even what's his name? The Tonk guy.
Dude.
Tonk guy that goes to the moon. I can't remember his name, his character's name, or whatever it is.
I've forgotten as well.
But even him, you can tell the difference between shitty prosthetics in the first one and how he looks in the second one.
Yeah, that's true.
He looks completely different.
Legit as well.
Yeah,
actually, in the second
it looks a lot more like he's worn like a green screen suit and they've kind of done some stuff in post.
I agree. They're the subtle differences you can always tell though, can't you?
Yeah.
The
Ellen Page looks a lot balder and
the
older.
receding hairline. That really got to me.
I was like,
oh, you're clearly getting on a bit.
Yeah.
What's weird with Ellen Page is she doesn't seem to age a lot.
Nah,
until now.
Yeah, she's kind of looked the like ever since Juno, she's just looked the same.
Yeah,
to me.
exactly.
She was in Inception. She looked the same.
I wonder how old she was because Juno was 2009 or something. Like you're going back a long while.
Yeah, we were like...
Maybe 2006.
We were 15, kids when that came out.
Years.
I remember that.
I reckon she must be like 35, 36, something like that. But now it's starting to show anyway. I did think that.
She's looking old.
Yes, yeah.
Sorry,
Vanya. But she's still, I don't know, she still holds the camera well, doesn't she? She still captivates the audience.
Yeah. So the season starts and they're all getting dropped off in different points in time in the 60s.
Which is also a really awesome idea.
Very, very... So, 5 has kind of managed to get them away from this massive world-ending explosion at the end of the first season. And he's managed to take them back in time. But they all get dropped off in different points. One gets dropped off in 1960, the other one's 1961, 1962, and then a couple of them get dropped off at different points in 63. And it's just quite funny to see sort of like how their characters, how each of the characters deal with that,
how they cope with it, what they end up doing. And that's another great part of it, actually, is just the idea of them kind of looking at each other. I don't know if you got to this bit, but when
they all get together and they have have their meeting.
What's he doing?
And it's just sort of like, okay, so he's a cult leader.
Yeah,
he's been locked up in a mental asylum. She's like protesting for Black lives, and he's become like a mob boss's assistant.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty much.
I love that. Klaus, well, he's a cult leader. Yeah, I thought so.
Yeah. It is quite funny though.
He's still my favourite character by far.
Definitely, easily.
He's so good in front of camera. I don't know what it is about him, but every time you're watching him, you're just like riveted.
I just remember him in that first season of Misfits and the second season of Misfits.
Yeah, it was incredible.
And he was just absolutely brilliant. And then
stole it,
when they were going to do the third season of Misfits, I was like, okay, cool. And then he wasn't in there. I was literally like, what? Why is this?
I wonder what happened.
And well, the thing is that E4 or Channel 4, whoever like commissioned the program, they knew what they had with him because after I think it was after the first or second episode of the third season came out, they did like a little online thing of what happened to his character, what happened to Nathan, and you went online and you saw this. It was like a 2-minute clip or something, and he'd gone to Vegas and like gambled all of his money away or something like that, and it was really weird, really stupid. But it was just kind of like a way of, we know what we had with him. Our bad or whatever. Like it must have been down to money, surely.
I don't think it was one of those where I think I just immediately stopped switching. I switched off from Misfits after that.
I think it's either down to maybe him wanting more money, because he knew he was like the biggest thing in there.
Which I can't imagine, but maybe.
Or maybe he just didn't want to do another season.
Yeah,
but then, like, if he's doing another season of Umbrella Academy, it kind of says to me, well, he doesn't give a shit.
I would think. Yeah, surely he wouldn't have been able to demand that early in his career. It was the first time anyone had seen him.
Maybe he didn't want to pigeonhole himself.
True. Which
you don't want to end up like Daniel Radcliffe.
Doing the same role.
Well, like the thing is with him is that he does so much now to try and veer so far the other side. Like he did that was it Broadway or West End show?
Yes.
Where like he was naked. Like,
and
and that was just kind of like so far the other way. He was in Horns where he was like psycho ex-boyfriend or something, and he killed his
American
girlfriend.
Accent,
Yeah, with an American accent. So he's like, he's trying to go so far the other way.
Yeah.
And maybe doesn't want that to happen.
You can see that with Daniel Radcliffe. I talked to a friend recently the other day. It was like, hasn't he had the strangest career? And everyone went, quite like that he had a strange career. Like he definitely hasn't pigeonholed himself, but at the same time, you can tell that it's kind of the opposite is going through his mind of like, make sure I don't become that like. Single...
Make sure I just don't become. I just don't want to just be Harry Potter.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to be more than that.
Yeah.
So maybe it's the same with Rob S.
Yes.
But yeah, like, so they're all getting dropped off in different points, and like you said, it is just quite cool to see what their characters are doing.
Yeah.
The only one that I'm a bit bored by is, I've got a rumor. I heard a rumor. Yeah. She's got such a crap power as well.
It's a bit annoying,
crap,
isn't it? Yeah.
Awful power.
But actually, honestly, they even make her character kind of intriguing.
Yeah,
I
would say I would say her character arc in the second season is a bit more. You can kind of, in the first season you're just like, oh, you're just a dick, and then the second season you can kind of be like, okay, fair enough. Like, I like the fact of, okay, so she's figured out she's gone back in time, and the first time she gets dropped off, she doesn't know where she's at, and she runs into the first place she sees, and you just see the guy behind the counter of the diner just look at her with a bit of a scorn, and he points up to the sign. It just says whites only. It's just like, fuck, Jesus. God. And then she's getting chased around the neighbourhood and stuff like that. It hits
home so much as well, especially even in this series, which is like supposedly set in the 60s. They're saying like, look ahead 50 years. Trust me, it's still going. All of this matters, and it's just. I think it's really great that it hits home so hard now of all times. Like,
yeah, definitely.
With the movement reoccurring again. But yeah, I thought even with her, everything worked nicely. Wish I could remember big fella's name. But he becomes like a wrestling dude.
Yeah, so he's like so he works for the big mob boss in town.
Yeah.
And he's kind of like his paid henchman, and he's doing these underground boxing fights, or just, I don't know, just fights really.
Yeah, bare knuckle fists.
Yeah, so he's obviously getting paid to win at certain points or something.
Yeah.
Kind of similar to what you see in other movies. What is it? I think Snatch or something.
I was thinking Snatch.
Where they get paid to throw the fights, or he gets paid. Oh, you need to. Oh, make sure you go down in a second. Go down in a second.
Or I'll feed you to the pig.
Yeah, I'll feed you to the pig. so he's he's obviously either getting paid to throw the fights or getting paid to win them in a certain amount of time, so that other people can gamble and win money on him. So yeah, that kind of. But the only thing that I found weird about his arc is that he doesn't seem to care when Five comes back and says to him, "Oh, like, the end of the world's going to happen again."
Yeah.
And he's just kind of like, and?
It's weird because maybe is that the first reaction you get?
Yeah, he's just like.
It's really strange because you're like, but this is shit. Imagine they all just went, "Well, I don't care," and that nothing happened.
Whereas in the first season, he's kind of like the big brother of everyone.
He's the one with the morals, and he really wants everybody to be together on this. And this one is like, well, I suppose it's because he's heartbroken, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually, he wouldn't have known that then, so scrap that.
He does. When he's just sat there, like, in her house, eating the cookies or the cake or whatever he's made.
He's quite good as a comic relief, actually. A lot of the time, like, I've realised that they really put him as the comic relief, and it works.
Yeah, it does work.
Anyway,
I think it's because it's like a juxtaposition with what he looks like, as opposed to what he can.
Yeah,
what
he's super sensitive as well, isn't he? But we'll fully review next week.
I'm quite excited to finish the rest of it. I think I'm about 6 or 7 episodes in, so I'm getting there.
I'm so excited for it.
And also, like, Vanya, like, so she gets transported into the past.
Indeed.
And she runs out in front of the road. She gets hit by a car, and suddenly she can't remember anything. Or can she?
Oh.
I'm a bit dubious of her. Bit dubious. But yeah, she literally, whenever she meets any of the characters, she's like, "I've got a brother. I've got another brother. I've got a sister." Okay,
of all the people to be being her must be very hard to kind of come to terms with.
Yeah, and she's got this whole like lesbian.
None of us look the same.
Yeah,
you're my brother and sister. Okay.
She's got this whole like lesbian side plot with this 1960s housewife that she's staying with.
Yeah.
It's very, very,
very strange.
Their relationships are weird,
right?
So I've just got to the episode where the start of the episode is they wake up in bed next to each other.
Oh, you are quite far along.
Yeah,
okay.
So they wake up in bed next to each other, and then the husband's coming. So, oh shit, like we've got to get up.
Oh.
And then Vanya goes off to meet the other siblings.
Yeah.
And then she comes back and she's just like had this epiphany of, I just need to tell her I love her. So she's like, no, I love you. We just need to be together. And the woman's just like, that's just morning time. I was just like, oh my God. And she's just like, that's just morning time. No, don't worry about that. That's just morning time. I got responsibilities.
Yeah.
I got a family. I got a husband.
Oh, it's horrible.
It's just like, okay. But that is like,
it's real life, isn't it?
that's the mentality of that time, isn't it?
True.
That's what that woman would have thought in the 60s. She's I'm just gonna get on with it.
That's something I thought they did really well, actually. Just the zeitgeist of the time, if you like it just feels very realistic.
How do you feel that we've got another? Because I'm sure we've spoken about this before. How do you feel that we've got another Netflix show that is again sort of playing to people's perceptions and sort of their thoughts and dreams of the past? So we've had it with Sex Education.
Yeah.
Had it with Stranger Things, and then now again with Umbrella Academy. You're kind of there. So they've gone even further back than the other ones, because obviously the other ones have got a bit more of like an 80s, 70s, 80s vibes. This one's gone all the way back to the 60s. Do you think that's like? Do you think there's anything to read into that, or do you think that is literally part of the story that Gerard Way would have imagined?
That's a very good question. I mean, we could always look it up, couldn't we? But it's one of those things for me.
Hey, Jamie, can you just get that up, Jamie? Pull that up.
I think it's, for me, I would think that the writers had some interest in that time anyway.
I'd hope so.
I think that's what it seems like to me, because also the way it's constructed, that whole storyline is so like, it must have taken a lot of energy, but they wanted to find somewhere that everybody knows is like this big time in humanity.
Well, this is the thing. You've already got one up on me.
Yeah.
You should know really why they've chosen that time. I mean, it's all kind of for me
by now, though.
For me personally, it's kind of all building up to this crescendo where the father of the Umbrella Academy, he's involved in some basically like the Illuminati or something.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Do you know, like it's an Illuminati like group.
Is, isn't it? I didn't think of that before. He's
kind of involved in this, this secret organisation, and they've got a plan to kill off JFK. Yeah. Well, that's what it's definitely what Diego thinks.
For sure.
Like, he's super like, yeah, this is what they're doing.
I love Diego in this, because Diego is like so many people. He just has this like moral kind of dignity that he's like, no matter what, we're gonna make sure that Kennedy doesn't die. And if you were in that scenario, if you were brought back to that time, how many people would be thinking the same? Like, no matter what, we must not let that happen.
Yeah, exactly. And then he even makes a reference to like, and then after that we're gonna go go back even further. We're gonna kill baby Hitler. So yeah, he's definitely got that kind of like moral compass of he wants to do right, even if it's by doing a bad thing.
Well, Diego doesn't really seem to get the timeline like everybody else. Everybody else understands if they fuck with things will go horribly wrong.
Yeah, exactly.
But with Diego, he's kind of like, yeah, but it shouldn't have happened. And this is how I feel about like Kennedy and John Lennon. Like those two examples of just like, if I was there, anything to stop that happening.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, of course.
But who knows? Like in this, you kind of see that if Kennedy didn't die, who knows what would have happened? The Russians might have started nuking people or whatnot.
So would you say that this story needed to be told in this time period, or could they have kind of changed the story slightly and put it at a different time? Could they have gone back to like 1920s, 1930s?
I think they could have done. I don't think it had to be here. I think, like you said, I think they needed something that everybody can kind of familiarise themselves with,
Yeah.
and that you can all it's already building. Do you know what I mean? They've already got something to have as a crescendo to the storyline without anything happening already, because they're in that time. But if you then also add in the end of the world, or whatever you want to call it, so I think it didn't need to be at this time. I think it's a time when a lot of people have nostalgia for the 60s. I know I do. But it's not too far
Stan was
away.
alive in the 60s.
I wish I was.
Don't we all?
I've been at Woodstock. Anyway, I think it could have been at any time, but they just needed something that didn't feel too far removed. So if they went to the 20s, people might not have that familiarity with it.
Yeah,
but
that's fair. That's a fair point.
They needed something on the horizon within their storyline anyway. And you see with this, like, it comes into it, but it's not the crux of everything.
And, of course, the ultimate question. Who's better? Baby Yoda? Or Baby Pogo?
I haven't seen...
You haven't seen The Mandalorian?
So how am I supposed to know?
It's true. But you've seen... Surely you know what Baby Yoda looks like.
Yeah, but...
Versus Baby Pogo.
Baby Pogo.
Yeah, well, he's not Baby Pogo, but a lot younger Pogo.
Who's Pogo? I'm trying to think.
The monkey.
Oh, of course. He's adorable.
When he goes up into space. It's brilliant.
They do... So much of this is based on the storyline. No, not the storyline. The soundtrack. Sorry. This is one of my top 10 soundtracks. By the way.
Do you really like they do a cover of Billie Eilish's "Bad Guy"?
They do, don't they?
And it's really weird because I was just kind of like, dun, 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 dun,
you immediately go, I think I
and I was like,
this.
I recognise this song.
This is a good song, isn't it?
Dun, dun,
and then you go,
dun,
oh,
dun,
it's fucking Billie Eilish.
Yeah, and then literally you just hear the singing. And I was like, oh, God's sake.
But
it's a really catchy tune.
At least they didn't do the exact same. At least they didn't literally have Billie Eilish. Also, I bet you what they've done is they go, so what we really wanted was Bad Reputation. You know that song which they use in like every fight scene. In this, I reckon someone literally went, we want you to do Billie Eilish Bad Guy, but in the style of that. I reckon that's someone's job. I want that job. Anyway, fucking good series. Very, very, very happy with it. I literally binged it in 2 days. It's one of those where you just want to get to
I'm gonna have it finished by the end of the week. Easy.
Awesome.
Like I say, I've probably only got about 3 or 4 episodes left, so I'm fully invested.
Nice.
After that, I'm gonna be really cut up, and I'll do my usual thing of, I need to watch something I'm used to now.
Yeah.
Let me stick on Peep Show or How I Met Your Mother, just so I can kind of calm down a bit.
Literally, that's.
And then I'll get onto something new.
Yeah. Or Fresh Prince. That's been my recent one. Or comfort food.
Yeah.
So I did have that hole in me afterwards. Just kind of like, I needed my Umbrella Academy. But what have I been watching instead? I've been going through some films.
Okay, go, hit me.
So, I don't know if you know, Joseph Gordon-Levitt has, I think, 3 films out this year.
3?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember what the third one was, but I know one of them, there's an advert for it on Netflix, which is with Jamie Foxx. It's coming out on the 14th of August.
Okay. What's it called? What's it about, or anything like that?
It looks like a little bit like Limitless. It looks a little bit like Limitless crossed with The Matrix, where someone can like take a pill and then...
Was Limitless the one with
Bradley Cooper?
Bradley Cooper, that's it.
Yeah, that's the one.
And he takes the pills and then
100% brain power.
Oh, I've got more brain power. Look at me.
It's such a simple premise, isn't it? If someone went 5% of our brain power, imagine if we could use 100%.
It's not even that. Imagine if you could use like 15%.
Yeah, literally.
I wouldn't even want 100%. Fuck 100%. I don't want to know everything.
Yeah. Well, there you go. You don't need to see that.
Just let me know a bit more.
Because the whole film was basically telling you don't need 100%.
I don't want 100%. I'll just give me another 10%. I'm happy. I'm happy with 10% more.
Yeah, I think I would be, dude.
If I could just be a bit better than everyone else.
A bit better. That's all I ask.
That's it. Come on, guys.
But the film I watched with him in was called 7500. Or The 7500, I think.
Yes. On
it?
Amazon Prime.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Watched it. I can't remember when, but yeah, watched it.
It recently came out, right?
Yeah, really, really good.
It is a good film.
It's
I saw JGL talked about it on his Facebook, and he said there was a lot of like long shots where they would just be like keep rolling and just expect them to keep filming.
Yeah,
and you can see that actually it looked really hard.
And it's just kind of like let's just keep going, and you're in. It's kind of just saying to them like, just stay in character and just kind of do what you would do. You know, if
make
you
it
were
as real as possible, and it feels horribly real in time. So the synopsis, guys, is you got a plane going from
somewhere to somewhere
in America, and this guy has been working as an airline pilot, I think about 10 years or something.
Yeah, he's been doing it for quite a while.
Yeah, and he is. Oh, he's second in command, isn't he, on this flight?
Yeah, so on this flight, he's second in command to the captain, and his wife, I think it's his wife.
Yes, his wife is working as an air hostess, which I think is mad anyway. Actually, yeah, I feel like surely there'd be a like conflict of interest in a way. Not conflict of interest. You'd be distracted, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But anyway, I suppose he's not in charge of the flight anyway.
Yeah.
So he gets on board and goes about his day, and then you're kind of getting flashes of this other chap at the airport going through security. It's all very sinister to begin with. But
it's very in that first bit you don't get any sound, do you?
That was the thing.
It's literally you don't get any sound, and the pre-film credits are rolling, and then like Stan said, you get these flashes of someone going through the airport, so going through passport control, going through baggage and stuff like that, and they're going onto the plane, but you don't hear anything, and it's just kind of like, has the film started?
It's unnerving.
I was very kind of like, okay,
yeah,
but it goes on for quite a while, so I'm a bit like, okay, and then the first time that I think the sound kicks in is when you're introduced to JGL, or JGL gets either on the plane or into the cockpit, something like that.
That's it.
I think that's the first time that you hear some sound, and then you're like, okay, cool. Like I can actually.
But that was clever, I thought, because actually it was unnerving without having to do anything.
Yeah, it makes you you sort of prick up and pay attention. You're like, okay, what's going on?
Like, what are you showing me here? Because I don't think I really paid much attention to the synopsis before.
I would have liked to have seen that in a cinema.
Yeah.
Just kind of get the ambience of the room and just kind of
the immediate reaction.
Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, I like sort of seeing films with groups of people that I don't know. I know it sounds really strange, but you know, like when you can kind of, if you're with like
Nathan's a stalker.
No, even if you're by yourself and you're in a full screen of people and you're watching a movie, you can kind of gauge. You have your own reaction to a movie, but if you're in a movie with another 100 people, you can kind of gather what other people are thinking. I would have liked to have seen what other people would have thought of that. Yeah. Obviously, you would have had like idiots in the front or whatever, being like, ooh, making stupid noises. But like, you know, the majority consensus is like, okay, this is a bit. You know, it would have been
felt tense. I'm sure it would have. It builds really slowly for the first half hour, and then it really rushes into everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But I thought that film, all in all, I think it was a really good film. I think it was just very like captivating. Of like, it's not the most familiar story. I don't know if you'd heard about that because I hadn't. But I imagine it's a true story. It must be.
Potentially.
I think it must be, dude. It must be the way they've like got the correct characters and everything. I think even the names are the same. Let's find this out.
News to me, mate. News to me.
JGL lives up to it as usual.
Of course.
And everything else, I think, is pretty good. I thought it was it must have been so hard to film it within that small confines of a plane, because it must have been a real plane unless they hollowed it out or something. But yeah, really, really good. Yeah,
so as soon as he gets onto the plane, he does all of his checks and stuff like that. It's very, very mundane.
Yeah.
And then, you know, they get up in the air and everything. And from an aspect of, you know, I know that you do and I do, you know, we quite enjoy plane travel. To kind of see, like, the inner workings. And, you know, it's not really true, like, all the shit that they do. But you kind of get a feel for, oh, there's actually quite a, you know, pre-flight check 1, pre-flight check 2, yep, check this, check that. Like, it's, you know, it's quite interesting to kind of have a bit of a look behind the curtain at that kind of thing.
That's so true. There's also that scene where they're just taking off. That's all that's happening. They're taking off the plane. I remember just thinking, this is really cool.
Yeah,
because it's an over-the-shoulder shot.
And it really,
of the pilot.
and it just kind of it intrigues you as to, you know, if you are interested in that kind of thing, it just intrigues you to be like, oh, so this is okay, fair enough. And yeah, you are you're straight away you're put into that cockpit, and you're kind of like part of that, you know, the flight crew.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, they're probably like 10-15 minutes into the flight or whatever, shit goes down.
Yeah, this guy did not. This is the thing. You see the guy going through security. He wasn't alone. He had friends on the flight, and I think that's the worst part of it, because his friends are absolute knobheads. Like they just.
So they've got in the cockpit, they've got this camera that sees into. It's a bit like a rear view camera if you've got one in like a car or something, and they can see into, you know, a bit of the aisle.
Yeah, it's a terrible view. Isn't
it's
it?
It's a very crap view.
You
can see a bit of the aisle and a bit of outside passengers. You can see a bit of outside the door of the cockpit. And you see sort of a couple of the air hostesses going in and out and stuff like that. They knock at the door gets open, blah blah blah.
Hey honey.
Yeah, and obviously these people want to get into the cockpit, and you see like there's a really really good shot of that rear view camera inside the cockpit of the curtain sort of getting moved a bit, getting moved, and it's literally like it's not a horror film at all. You know, I'd say it's psychological thriller or something like that.
Yeah.
You can see the curtain get moved, and it's like a horror movie. Like, oh shit, no, I know what's gonna happen. Like, years and years of horror films they've taught me. I know what's coming.
It's such a
oh shit,
very
and
well
then
placed.
and then the woman comes across and they're like, right, let's fucking just do it. So yeah, there's 3 guys all in all, I think.
3 guys, yeah, that's all it is.
And they're basically just trying to get into the cockpit so they can take control of the plane.
Terrorists.
Yeah.
I used the word knobhead earlier. It's probably not.
So you've got these, So you've got these 3 terrorists that want to try and take control of the plane so they can fucking suicide bomb it somewhere. Basically, like that's basically the premise, isn't it?
Yes. Fucking suicide.
And it's pretty much just and it's just it's what would you do in that situation? That's kind of the gist that I feel that they're going for.
Yeah.
This for me is definitely my type of movie because I love those confined movies.
Yeah.
I love Buried. I love anything like Buried. Like it's people chat shit about Buried. I'm just like, why? It's brilliant. Honestly, like I love that film
because I think you understand that it's like a fine craft in a way to be able to have just like 0 other characters.
Yeah, I really admire something like that
and make it captivating for over an hour.
Yeah. For the fact of like you can just have something set in such a small location. Like it would literally be like me and you being confined to just this room and making an amazing movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's just that incredible feat that's even possible.
Yeah, I agree.
And like people chat shit about something like Buried, but I think it's brilliant.
So many people hated that.
I think they just thought it was a crappy plot. Me personally, I loved it. I loved the struggle, and I was with him there.
Yeah,
I was really with him, and the fact that you're left on a tenterhooks at the end and you don't know what's happened.
That would have pissed people off as well.
I'd love that. When's Buried 2 coming out? No, you don't need a Buried 2. Honestly, you don't. Yeah. But yeah, so something like that's my bread and butter.
Clever,
really, I love those types of really confined movies.
You love this film, then.
Yeah, it was. I didn't like, I wouldn't give it a 10 out of 10 or anything like that. But like, I really enjoy JGL. I think he's quality,
so
and I just, you go through the motions with the character.
Yeah.
You know, so he ends up in the cockpit with one of the guys. He has to sort of
with one of the terrorists.
He beats him up and then he ties him up and everything. The captain's dead, so he's got to take control of the plane as well as try and deal with the terrorists. Mm-hmm. Another one of the terrorists comes in and he's then got to try and talk him down. And you know, it's just what would you do in that situation? And you would do what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
He's been injured at this point and he's trying to do his job and just trying to land the plane as soon as he can. And at the same time, he's trying to talk to this terrorist and he's trying to befriend him. But you know, it's what you would do. Like you got to try and befriend this guy, and as soon as you've got a moment, you need to fucking kill this guy. Like just take him out or do something
for the good of everyone. Yeah. But we're forgetting the most brutal skill. This is spoilers. Obviously, I'll put a spoiler alert. But the scene where you can see his wife outside, and you're just there like, please don't make me watch. I don't even want to just watch this because you're just like, you know what's gonna happen.
You know it's gonna happen as well.
And I think you know it from the moment you even see her. You know.
Yeah, 100%. As soon as they kiss each other, you're like, well, she's obviously gonna fucking die, isn't she?
Exactly. She works on the same plane. Oh, there's terrorists. Oh God, here we go. And so it's harrowing because at first, what he does, which I think I would switch that camera off.
Yeah.
And just try and.
Well, doesn't he kill a passenger? The terrorists kill a passenger first.
The passenger first, like,
and then JGL turns it off, and then they keep banging.
But then he switches back on.
And he's like, I can't let you in, and then he switches it back on, and then they grab the air hostess, and they really brutally. I think is there a piece of glass or something?
Something like that, yeah.
Piece of glass slit her throat. And it's right in front of that little camera there.
Absolutely brutal, that thing. Not for the faint-hearted, this film. But you wouldn't watch a film like this if you were faint-hearted. Anyway, for the type of film it is, what would you rate it then out of 10?
I'll give it a 7.
Yeah, I'd say 7.5, something like that. Like, I don't know what they could have done better with that premise, but...
No, I don't think you really could have done better. I mean, maybe... No.
Doesn't stay with you very well, honestly. I don't know what it is, but yeah.
No, like I say, I probably saw it quite a few weeks ago, so it's not really, I can still recall things that happened in the movie, but it's not kind of like, it hasn't left me with any real sense of anything.
I agree. Maybe it just needed something that was original to another degree, or something that really resonated with you, but
yeah.
Other than being a good thriller.
And JGL's always brilliant. Always brilliant.
Yeah, no, I thought it was fantastic. Other than that, I finally watched a couple of films I've been meaning to. So...
Oh, please tell me this isn't something... You haven't just watched Die Hard, have you? Fucking hell.
It's worse. It's a Jim Carrey film.
Okay, Jim Carrey movie. So, what, and you've never seen this before?
Yeah, and you know how much I love Jim Carrey films.
Do you?
Yeah. Truman Show and Eternal Sunshine are all way up there.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay, so if those are the films by Jim Carrey that you love, it's going to be one of his really obvious comedies that you haven't seen.
Very good. Like, horrendously obvious, like hitting you in the face with his weird faces and wackiness. What could it be?
So I've got 3 options in my mind. Liar Liar.
Seen Liar Liar.
Me, Myself and Irene, and The Mask. Those would be my 3 options.
Nice, okay, you got it.
Is one of them?
Yes.
Jesus Christ. How have you not seen one of them? What did you do when... Not when you were a kid, but... Okay, like Liar Liar and The Mask definitely came out when we were children. How you couldn't have watched either of those, I don't know.
Well... I don't know. I have no idea. I saw Liar Liar first, for some reason.
Okay, you've seen Liar Liar. When did you see Liar Liar? Like last year?
So I saw that way back. That's what I mean. I saw it first before the others. And I remember thinking, even when I was like, 15, I remember thinking, that was a bit naughty. That was an adult reference. Didn't he come out with the, he has sex with his office partner or something. And
his secretary or something like that.
His wife comes in. Oh no, and she comes in and goes, what about last night? He goes, I've had better. Do you remember that? I remember being like, whoa! That was a good film. Anyway, the film I didn't see, The Mask.
Oh, Jesus. How have you never seen The Mask?
I don't know. I think it was because
When did it come out? Like 94 or something stupid?
Something like that. Cause
it's like early 90s.
Do you know what it's got? It's got very like Looney Tunes vibes to this. It's so kid-like. I remember, I think I passed the point of wanting to see it and then was like 12 onwards. And then after that you look at it and you look at like what it's going to be like, which is, hey, like a lot of massive over the top faces.
But there's so many
it's very like Liar Liar, actually.
There's so many like memes and so many references in just day-to-day, not day-to-day life, but there's so many references in like
gotten by.
Yeah, like how have you never seen the Mars?
So I've finally seen it the other day.
Please tell me you liked it, for God's sake.
I liked it. I liked it.
God.
For a long time, I think that's why I didn't have the interest. I thought, I'm gonna hate this. It's Jim Carrey like just doing like a zany character, and I didn't think there would be any substance to the story.
There's a good story there.
And there's Cameron Diaz.
Oh my! In that the pinstripe dress.
Wow.
Yeah.
In fact, they actually did a very kind of Marilyn Monroe-esque type thing where the first scene she's like,
yeah,
coming down the stairs. It's like, wow.
And how much do you hate the bad guy in it, the villain in the movie?
Oh yeah,
he's such a dick.
I thought Jim Carrey. Okay, it becomes a good storyline when you see Stanley Hipkiss in real life, and then they suddenly go, "Oh, it's not going to be just like there's this crazy guy here." There's like somebody like going through some shit.
So it's Stanley Hipkiss with his crappy life.
He works in a bank. He's a bit uncomfortable. Everything's going badly for him. He has the worst day.
And he finds this really weird mask,
strange green mask, in the sea.
Decides to put it on his face, which why would you? And then he wakes up the next morning with a bad hangover.
Yeah,
but it's brilliant. Like, and he robs a bank and everything like that.
Yeah.
Hipkiss, why are your pajamas here? And like when he's trying to close the cupboard door because it's just bags of money.
1 second, I'll be there. And actually, it was Jim Carrey at his best. It really was. The more you watch it, the more you like.
Honestly, I don't know how you've lived 28 years of your life without watching that.
That long. So finally, tick that one off the list, and I'm glad I did.
Out of 10, what are you saying?
It's not a great film, dude. It's still so silly that I wouldn't rate it very highly, but at least it has some serious parts. So I'd give it maybe like 6.2, something like that.
So I haven't seen this movie for probably about 5 or 10 years.
Yeah.
But I'd still give it like a 7.5.
Really?
Easily. Yeah.
That's good.
It's brilliant. Dude, Cameron Diaz is so hot in this film.
So unbelievable.
I know we're kind of bordering that line. We've been really creepy now.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys are dribbling. Why are you dribbling? But no, like, she's...
But trust me, guys. She's
so hot.
Unbelievable, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, I'm happy for you.
For finally watching it.
Yeah, if you can just tell me all the other movies that you missed out on in childhood, I'll make a little list and you can just get onto them.
Well, I've been doing it with the lockdown list, haven't I?
Dude, I know like this isn't the same level for me as The Mask.
What?
But I've actually got like a really bad admission to make.
Go on.
So last time we spoke, I don't think we did this on camera or like on recording or whatever, but we started talking about it's because we were talking about Forrest Gump.
Right.
And we started talking about IMDb top 100 movies or whatever.
Yeah.
So we're going through the movies, and I was like, okay, in the top 10, how many have I seen? I was like, I've seen 5 or 6. So okay, what ones haven't I seen? And I was really disappointed to say that out of the top 10, the top number 1, I hadn't seen that movie the whole way through. Like I'd seen parts of it.
Right.
And it was Shawshank Redemption.
What?
So I hadn't listen.
Christ,
so I hadn't seen that movie.
What?
I hadn't seen that movie in full. I 100% I'd seen the ending because I knew as soon as he goes to prison.
Right.
I knew.
You saw the ending in film class. Is that what happened?
I'm not sure.
Because I think I might have.
I'm not sure.
I remember
but
that happened to me.
I'd 100% I'd seen the ending because I knew as soon as he goes into prison and he puts up the poster.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, this is the movie where he ends up behind the poster. And then as the movie goes on, I was like, or is that this movie? And then I started thinking about what's the film that Chicken Run's based on, and their escape from prison.
The Great Escape.
Yes, I thought I was thinking of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, maybe that's the Great Escape actually. I was like, well, no, because Chicken Run's based on the Great Escape and they dig under.
Yeah.
I was kind of like, okay, no, it's got to be this movie. And then when the ending happens, and then he goes off to the tree and he digs under, I was like, okay, I've definitely seen this ending.
Yeah, I thought you had.
And I've definitely seen the start. But I've never watched that film all the way through. Mate, I've got to say, like, I watched that movie all the way through. Yeah. I could have fucking stood up and applauded. I was like, okay, fine. Like, this is definitely brilliant.
It's insane.
So
it's really, really good.
As much as I take the piss out of you that you haven't seen The Mask.
You haven't seen the #1 film
I hadn't watched Shawshank all the way through.
So funny.
I watched it and I was like, okay, yeah.
Weirdly, The Mask was in the top 100, actually. I remember thinking, oh, that must have some substance to it, rather. I think I looked at it and thought of, what's that Looney Tunes film with the basketball?
Space Jam.
Yeah, I thought, oh, it's like Space Jam.
Nah, it's not the same level as Space Jam.
It's
Mask
not,
is completely different to Space Jam.
Space
better. Jam's pretty much just for kids.
Just silly.
Whereas The Mask is, if you're an adult, you could go to the cinema and watch that.
Very adult, actually, that film. Because there's a lot of The Mask just being a horny maniac. Like...
When he's doing that, and he's like, love that.
But he's trying to knock himself out because he's just seen Cameron Diaz. That's all.
But yeah, so
I don't think it would come out today in the same way.
No, in the top 100. So there was Shawshank, and then obviously last time we were speaking about fucking Forrest Gump and Tom Hanks and stuff. And I promised Stan that I was going to rewatch a couple of Tom Hanks movies.
You did.
I haven't got around to watching Castaway yet. Forgive me, but I did watch Green Mile.
Hey!
And I will say that I will take back what I said about Green Mile.
Really?
It is a good movie.
Yes, it is a good movie.
But here's my 2 bugaboos.
What?
Just 2 bugaboos.
Okay, go on.
I think it being bookended with the old man really pissed me off.
Yeah,
because the ending with the old man, I just can't stand.
Yeah.
But I see now why they do the ending with the mouse and he's touched you and you live on and blah blah blah. Okay, fine, I get that.
Yeah.
But it just kind of annoyed me that it had to be bookended by the old man stories, and then it made me remember Saving Private Ryan.
Yeah.
Because that gets bookended. That gets bookended with the old man, and that annoyed me. And I was just like, was this just Tom Hanks? Am I going to watch Castaway? Is that bookended by an old man? But all the stuff that's actually set in, when is it? What time period is it set in? Is it like early 1900s or something like that?
30s. I think you're going way back, right?
Yeah. So
Like
whatever
30s,
decade it's set in,
40s.
that the whole bit where Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks, I really enjoyed that story. But I just forgot how stupid some of it is. Like the really early reference of, I've got a really, really bad urine infection. And he really throws it off as... The old man throws it off when he starts the story as like a really sort of blasé comment. And then obviously you get halfway through the story and big guy's grabbing his junk. And you're like, oh, really? Is it really what makes for cinema these days?
That's a good point.
But yeah, like I hadn't seen it in so long, and I was kind of like, okay, cool. It's a good movie, but the ending really annoyed me.
I'll be honest, dude. That it had the same effect on us. We watched it and we got to that part, and you really are. It's a long film. It is a long.
Yeah, that's the other thing I was going to say. It's 3 hours and 10 minutes or 15 minutes.
Yeah, it's fucking.
It's too long. It's
far too
long.
It's the fact that if it was a normal sized film, because like you said, everything that's happening in between the old man stories it feels really like substantial. Like it needs to be in there. So I get that it's a long film. Just cut out the ending and the book ending, like you said, because actually I don't think that added anything for me. The fact that he's still alive and it's like. I was because it's basically saying I was touched by God, right?
Yeah.
We knew that already. We get that this guy, we saw him die and you're crying there, and he clearly was God anyway. He's healing everybody.
Yeah.
We don't need to have you as an old man.
You don't need to have that punched in your face. No,
exactly. It did seem like unnecessary.
Yeah.
There's no cleverness about it or anything, and I didn't need the mouse to be alive. That's for sure.
I personally feel like the bit at the start with the old man is okay. Because he starts crying, doesn't he, when he sees that movie?
He does.
And that's quite nice when you get right to the end of the movie. And that's why he's crying.
That makes sense.
That makes sense, but I don't need that end fluff. And the end fluff is like a good 15 minutes
it's still
of
going.
fluff.
That's the problem.
And,
You're so aware of time ticking past at that point because you've been sat there 3 hours.
I will say one thing I did notice is either like Sam Rockwell. He plays Billy the Kid.
Oh mate,
he's fucking Jesus. He's good. He's good. He is good.
He's so good.
So
Sam Rockwell plays that character a lot and always.
He's really good.
It's scary
so when he gets picked up and he's just dribbling and and he's acting, he's in this mental asylum or something like that, and they've gone to pick him up, and he's just acting like he's just he's gone. He's been injected with something, and he's
now a vegetable.
He's dead on his feet. And then suddenly he gets to the hospital, and you just see this little glint in his eyes or something, and he suddenly springs to life, and he's like, "Hey!" Brilliant. Honestly, he was awesome.
Next level.
And you hate him. Yeah. You hate his character so much. So much. And almost when he
as much as the jail guard actually. Yeah. Like those two.
And he gets that, what is it, a chocolate or a sweet or something?
Yeah.
And then he keeps it in his mouth for ages. And then a guard walks up and he spits in his face. It looks like shit in his face. So good.
I think there's a couple of scenes from this that really stick with me. There was a new one this last time I saw it where I thought, damn, that's horrible. And it was just that scene with Lieutenant Dan in it. I said he's in this as well.
Yeah.
He's only in one scene. I breezed over this last time. I guess because I didn't understand the severity of the lesson he's trying to teach.
Yeah.
To Forrest, which is basically anything can happen for any reason. There's no point in anything. It's because his son has been bitten by his own dog and now has lost sight in one eye. And it's just such a short scene, but such a powerful one that I don't think I'll forget that this time. And the other one, obviously, we couldn't watch this scene this time, was the scene where the dude obviously doesn't wet the sponge first. So he just takes so long. That scene is absolute it's genuinely painful to watch.
So I had to watch it because I've only seen the movie a couple of times before, and I hadn't seen it for years and years and years. So I was like, look, if I'm going to watch it, I know what's coming up, but I want to watch it.
Yeah.
And it's just like when Tom Hanks turns around to, it's either Tom Hanks or the other stiff upper lip guard turns around to the dickish guard, and they're like, no, you did this, you fucking watch it. Yeah. Like you will fucking watch this. And he's just crying and he's so upset about it. It's like, oh, it's your fucking fault. But the main takeaway. So I watched this with my sister, and the main takeaway I took from it was, wouldn't that guard, the dick guard, can't remember his name, would he not be so good as the Joker? Not as a Heath Ledger Joker, but as a Joaquin Phoenix Joker.
Yes.
He would be so It was the scene where he's crying and yelling and screaming, and he gets put into the straitjacket, and they throw him into the padded cell for the first time. I was looking at him and I was just like, I'll tell you what, you'd make a really good Joker.
You definitely would, in a Willem Dafoe type way. It's very kind of like cackly, as that sort of guy. I can see that, definitely. In fact, I don't know if he's still around in Hollywood. I feel like I've seen.
No, I had a look. I remember IMDbing him when we were watching it or just afterwards. Yeah, I was like, he's pretty much done nothing.
I see.
But he's a lot older now.
It's the thing, isn't it? Yeah, he's got one of those faces where he could have done something. I'm surprised.
But also, there was another thing as well that hit me, was that they were spoiled on cast and they didn't really do anything with them. Like isn't it Willem Dafoe that plays the father of the young girls?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. That's a waste. Yeah. Because that character is a nobody character. Yeah. Because he's in it right at the start for. That's another thing. I really don't like that beginning just before the credits when they're searching through the woods and you don't know why they're searching.
And he's just holding them.
That for me was pointless. Yeah. No, because you don't see him holding them.
Oh.
They're just searching through the woods. That's the opening credits. Yeah. Them searching through the.
That's all unnecessary. That's fluff.
Pointless. Fluff. Again, that's another 2 minutes of fluff we could cut out of this movie.
That's a really good point. It's as if what they do nowadays is they overdo that post-production edit, don't they? Because we've seen it ruin films like the Suicide Squad excuses itself for. But on this one, it's like it just got a free pass. It's like they went, mate, I'll give you 20 quid if you don't take anything from this film.
But yeah, so I just kind of thought like you literally could have had anyone play that, and William Dafoe could have been given like a much better role.
Well, I guess it wasn't famous at the time though.
But
it might have been before.
Yeah. But I was just kind of like, you could have had a nobody actor in that point.
Yeah, true.
And yeah, but other than that, like, yeah, it's a good movie. Of course it is.
Film. That's definitely in the top 20 or 30.
Yeah, it was. I think it was like just outside top 10.
That definitely
to be honest.
It, I think it deserves it. What would you rate it?
I'll probably go an 8.
An 8. Okay.
Just too long for me to. It was too long for me to hold my attention for the whole time.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give it more than an 8, but not much because of the same reason that the fluff bit kind of gets in the way. Maybe like 8.4, 0.5.
But next to my Tom Hanks adventure is probably I'm gonna go Castaway.
Yes,
I'm still definitely saying though, out of the Tom Hanks films I've seen, Toy Story and The Terminal.
Don't get better than that. It's so painful to even say. I can't say it.
Forrest Gump, The Terminal. No. Honestly.
Wrong way around.
What's his name as well? Victor Noborsky. Love it.
Eat to bite. Eat to bite.
Would you like to eat to bite with me?
Eat to bite? And he goes, ah.
Eat to bite. Eat to bite?
That's the best thing about that film, that little joke, and it goes on for a good couple of minutes.
Victor.
Bit to eat, bite to eat, bite to eat, bite to eat, bite to eat. Would you like to eat to bite?
Would you like to eat to bite with me?
It's a funny film, but it's nothing compared to
Victor Noborsky. But I can't even. You know, we were talking earlier, and we were saying like when you rewatch something, it makes you think about the time that you first watched it.
Yeah. Definitely.
I must have watched that movie in a really, really good place.
On a really good
because
day.
Whenever I watch The Terminal, honestly, it just takes me back to the first time I watched it, and I just remember just being like, "Oh, this is a brilliant movie. It's so good."
Do you know, I have that with Tarzan, with the Phil Collins soundtrack. For some reason, always takes me back to a really good time, and it wasn't a particularly great time. I don't know why.
I'm just so happy when I watch The Terminal, and it's the bit as well when he redoes when he does the tiling in the bathroom, and he makes this amazing like thing.
Mural.
Yeah, we're gonna have to take that down.
Built it all for Catherine Zeta-Jones, didn't he?
Yeah. Victor Noborsky.
No, he's a good character. He's nothing in comparison to any of the other roles.
Anyway,
so I still haven't seen Philadelphia. That was on my list actually. Philadelphia. I need to go over that one. It's one of those where I feel like it's going to be a very serious film, so I don't really have the excitement for it.
Yeah,
but we'll see. I, however, watched a couple of other films. I watched 3 Billboards outside of.
Yeah, so that was, when was that Oscar bait? Was that last year, year before, a few years ago?
Year before, so yeah, 2018.
Yeah, a couple of years ago.
2017.
Yeah, I remember that was like real Oscar. I say Oscar bait, like it's a very serious story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember when that came out. I never got around to watching it.
Have you not seen it?
Nah.
Oh shit, dude! I thought you'd seen it.
I know enough about it.
Oh, okay, right. Dude, I'd totally advise it, honestly.
Yeah?
It's a really good comedy. I mean, in any other Coen Brothers style, like, it's awful and it's great at the same time. There's scenes which break your heart, but then they end up being funny at the end. I'm so glad Woody Harrelson was in this film. So glad he was in this film. Like,
he is quality.
He has a way of making that character lovable. That was the thing, like, this guy, if they got someone with a little less charisma, he would have just washed away.
Fallen by the wayside.
You'd have never thought about it, but because it was Woody Harrelson, I don't want to ruin it now. We'll talk about this next time anyway. 3 Billboards is really good. It is really, really good. I was glad I watched it. The other one I saw was This Is Where I Leave You. We just watched a little clip, didn't we?
So I'm fairly positive that I've seen this.
I think you must.
So it's Jason Bateman, Adam Driver, Tina Fey, and that other guy.
The other bald guy.
The bald guy that's not That's not the funny one.
No, he's certainly not the serious brother.
The funny one is the one that's in Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
That's the funny one that we're talking about. The funny bald guy. Can't remember what his name is.
Yeah.
But the other bald guy, they look really similar. He's the one from Ant-Man.
That's where he's
He
from.
plays the villain in Ant-Man.
That's where he's from, yeah.
But he's usually in like sort of comedy-ish stuff
I know
as well.
what I've seen him in as well is House of Cards. He's in House of Cards.
Yes, he is. Yeah, he is.
He's trying to win. I think he's trying to take over from Frank Underwood, actually.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that. I gave up very shortly after. Anyway, what did you think? Do you remember anything from it?
Oh, see, this is the thing. So I read the little synopsis of the movie.
Yeah.
And it's all surrounding the father's death.
So father dies and 5 kids. Is it 5 kids? 4 kids.
Yeah, 4 kids.
4 kids get back together for the first time in a long time. Jason Bateman, bless him, is having the worst time ever because he walks in and finds that his wife has been fucking his boss for a year. And he walks in on it, and she's very non-apologetic about it. This happens at the beginning of the film.
Yeah, it's definitely ringing some bells. I'm sure I've seen it.
Yeah, I think you have as well. And so he's going through this whole kind of like midlife crisis because everything's kind of like gone down the shitter, and then this happens, and he's kind of like taking the time to process it. But it's not until he actually really gets like open. So the crescendo of the film, I'll skip ahead. At the funeral, the dad's kind of maybe or maybe not planted things so that they still have a good time, and it's in his breast pocket of his blazer that he wants Jason Bateman's character to wear. There's a couple of doobies, and in the end, what happens is out of nowhere that like there's a guy from Parks and Rec that plays the priest as well.
Yeah.
The curly hairdo. And he's just going on and on and on. And you wonder, like, what's going to happen here? Like, there doesn't seem to be much, what's the word? Like, that kind of, everybody comes out okay.
Yeah, there doesn't seem to be much of kind of like a really big flourish right at the end of like, okay, well, this character's going to go off and be really happy here. Exactly. They're going to go off and be happy here.
You're like, how's this going to work? And suddenly, you realise that he finds these doobies, and that's what's going to happen. They're not going to pay attention to the funeral of their dad. They're going to go and talk to each other, spend some time with each other, just get high in like a little cupboard somewhere, and just really enjoy each other's company. And even the serious brother comes in and he's all cross like, marijuana? Really? Is that what you want to do? And then suddenly the guys are there going, yeah.
But that's what's needed.
And that's what's needed. And in the end, it's a really wholesome film. I thought it's kind of strange that you've got, like, we were just watching a little clip, weren't we? It's weird that they picked those actors.
Yeah, because they literally, none of them look alike.
At all alike. Adam Driver's, like 7 foot by the looks of things compared to Jason Bateman.
7 foot, and he's got, like, really dark hair. Then you've got Jason Bateman, who's a bit shorter, and he's kind of got, like, light brown.
Yeah, kind of like cutesy little nose. And then you've got the serious brother who doesn't have hair and is looking like a Viking or something.
Yeah, he just looks nothing like anyone.
And then Tina Fey, of course.
Yeah.
Who's also very Tina Fey. Like, Tina Fey, you hire her to play Tina Fey. Let's not beat around the bush. But all in all, yeah, I'd give this film like, I reckon like a 7.3, something like that.
So this was higher for you.
It was quite high.
Mask.
What did I give The Mask?
Like 6.5.
Yeah, it wasn't very good. Nah, I gave The Mask a 7 something. Right? Mask can have a 7.0, but I'm not going higher. All right.
Praise be to God.
This is where I leave you. Is on par with that.
Okay,
because
that's fair.
I will laugh the same amount, but it didn't have Cameron Diaz or Jim Carrey.
You've got Mark down there. No Cameron Diaz, no looking hot
in her prime. But also, just to say that Jim Carrey was incredible as an actor in this film. So there, just to save myself. Whew. But yeah, anything else?
I don't think so. I really want to get on to the rest of
I bet you do, Academy. Especially after we've raved about it.
I'm definitely chomping at the bit. I want to know I'm really hoping. Definitely by your reaction, I can sense that the ending is going to be as good as the first season.
Yes, it is.
I can already sense that,
See,
which is
do you
good.
know what's really good? Just to hash it over one more time. What's really good is that they could have done like it's literally like the template for a Netflix series, right? Where they go, you've done a really good job of the first, so try not to change much in the second. And there's probably a lot of pressure.
But by the way, we're going to give you like 10 times the amount of money.
And we'll give you lots of money, but please don't make it too different because people hate that. If you go avant-garde on this, everyone's going to stop watching. So you have to try and make it very similar. So in the first episode, you have that conundrum, right? You have that kind of like, what do we do with this? How do we make it different but not different? And so I love what you said because they could have done character by character introduction. Like, here's him doing his thing, fighting. Like Avengers did too many times. Like, there's so many superhero films which could learn something from this, I reckon. Because just the fact that they arrive from different eras, they play with their character and how the character behaves with their environment on their own first, and then you also see them like together. I thought it was really well. Also, staggering that.
Yeah, staggering that is really clever.
Genius.
As well.
Really cool.
And I think the amount of time that they give each character is really good as well. Because, like, say for instance, what's his name? Robert Sheridan. Klaus. So the amount of time they give Klaus, he only gets there in 1963, I believe. Yeah. They don't really give him a lot of time. And obviously, if you think about something like a cult, they start really rapidly and then they fade out very quickly. Like they burn out straight away. Yeah. So to kind of give him only a short amount of time is a really clever thing to do. Whereas something like Alison, she gets more time because, you know, she kind of settles down. She finds a husband, and she gets into like a protesting for, you know, racism to stop. She gets into all of that, and that kind of that story would take time. Yeah. Whereas obviously something like Klaus just sort of appear and be in a cult is, you know,
it works, and that's the thing. I think it like you can see there's so much like creativity within just finding a way to get those characters to even meet each other with the different staggering of everything. So yeah, really good film, a really good series even. Let's finish off, shall we? And cut!
Let's call it a wrap there. See you later, kids.
Bye everybody, this has been Colour Me Intrigued. Colour Me Intrigued.